those companies that can bridge back-end core systems, legacy systems, business systems, okay, with mobile and cloud first underpinning it, okay, are going to not only survive, they're going to thrive.
All right. Hello and welcome everybody to your favorite CX show, the Engati CX show. You know me, I'm your host Rahul, and today we have a technology expert with us on the show today. But before I introduce you to who our guest is, allow me to introduce you to the magic of Engati. Engati is the world's leading multilingual no-code chatbot platform available across 14 channels with 35,000 bots created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as a top platform by Inc.com, TechWorld, CIO, and many others. We run the Engati blog, the video channel, and the Engati CX podcast, receiving upwards of 400,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest, the amazing Bill Genovese is present on the show today, and he provides solution to the financial services industry on a global scale. He has 27 years of experience consulting, designing, and delivering financial, analytical, and system management applications, core systems, and underlying infrastructure. Now, his technical expertise focuses on defining and raising architectural maturity for enterprise architecture by aligning business and technical strategy while focusing on critical architecture definition and delivery for cloud computing, high-performance computing, that is HPC, financial systems, information and analytics, system management, systems engineering, and data center architecture. So welcome to the show, Bill. It's such an honor to have you on board.
Thanks for having me. I'm humbled and honored to be here, and I appreciate the invitation.
Thank you so much. So jumping on to the first question straight up, Bill, is that, and it's exciting times going on because there's huge technological innovations coming through post the pandemic. So what, according to you, are the emerging technologies that the world will get to see in the coming decade?
Well, I kind of like to answer that a little bit in two parts. Okay, there's, really technologies that are on the fringe and that are not really commercially available right now on a wide scale basis to enterprises or even consumers. And then there's technologies that have started, 3, 4, 5, maybe even a decade back, but due to what's going on in the world, they've emerged as accelerators for digital transformation, okay? And the adoption of them has emerged even faster in terms of scale, okay? So if you kind of look at, the first part of the question, pure emerging technologies, okay? There's a couple that come to mind. Quantum computing. I've been researching and studying this for quite some time now. And it is an emerging technology that is going to definitively shake up everything that we know, okay? The consumer impacts won't be felt right away, but in terms of enterprises in certain industry sectors, I would say within the next 3 to 10 years, you're going to start seeing things really evolve in that space. Related to that, though, too, is artificial intelligence, okay? And I still feel that we're very, very at the early nascent stages with AI, okay? And it comes coupled with quantum computing because there's certain issues or certain problems in the business vein and domain that cannot be solved with classical algorithms and classic computing. Okay, so you're going to start to see a convergence of hybrid solutions between AI and quantum computing. So those are two emerging technologies that are first and foremost. There's others, okay, IoT, 5G moving into 6G for wireless, blockchain. It still needs to emerge. Okay, the world has been working on blockchain for a better part of a decade, but it still has not met widespread enterprise adoption yet. So that's still emerging, definitely. In the whole analytics space overall. Mobile technology, okay, going back to what I said, the second part of the question or answer for the question anyway, are technologies that are emerging that are becoming more mature and are accelerating for adoption. So cloud computing as an example, mobile financial services is another example. Mobile technologies, 5G moving into 6G. Okay, all of these are companies that don't have a mobile first or cloud first agenda. Okay, in terms of their applications, they're already behind. COVID has proven that. Okay, if you do have a mobile first agenda and you have a cloud agenda, then those are two big established pillars, okay, that hold up the house for digital transformation. And these companies, well, we know the names. Amazon, these giants are thriving. Apple. I mean, I'm an Apple shareholder, and I just received a 4 or 5 to 1 stock split. Okay, so I'm doing quite well on some of my holdings in the tech sector, and the companies that are differentiated are converging emerging tech. Okay, they're combining it together to meet the demands of consumers in COVID-19 and enterprises as well. So,
yeah, and that's a brilliantly answered question because the future looks amazing, and there's so much going on, and especially since COVID as well after it hit. But so talking about something, uh, well, having this conversation about emerging technology, it is important to talk about business centric views towards this technology that's come, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs watching the show. So with your experience, and what advice and what according to you are the key technologies that a company should adopt to survive in a time like a recession or something?
well, it goes back to what I said. Okay, certain technologies have been around for a decade or longer. Okay, cloud computing. Okay, and mobile. Okay, and I've been in this space for 27 years. Okay, and I remember, working in IBM. I worked for IBM for over a decade, and I remember cloud first strategy, then leading into mobile first strategy. Okay, and those companies that can bridge back end core systems, legacy systems, business systems, okay, with mobile and cloud first underpinning it, okay, are going to not only survive, they're going to thrive. But these companies are not just taking, what's been done 3, 5, 7 years ago and doing it now. Okay, so they're leveraging and they're looking at 5G. How can they make more of a video strategy? How can they have higher bandwidth and latency applications to take advantage of 5G? It could be advanced biometrics for facial recognition. Okay, so they get rid of passwords. Okay, and they're moving all in on facial recognition. Okay, for advanced cybersecurity, or it's a tiered digital identity framework where tied to the transaction amount, as an example. Well, they may require facial identity or facial recognition plus, a rotating PIN code on a fob. So, what I'm saying is they're not just taking old stuff and old processes, old procedures, and old core systems and trying to retrofit it in new technology. They're looking beyond that. Okay. And they're like, wow, okay, this is making things accelerated. We're saving money and we're keeping our customers and growing, but we want more. What's coming next? So I would say cloud and mobile, definitely.
Right. I think, businesses are kind of focusing nowadays to make processes very mobile, and then it kind of makes life easier that way. I mean, your phone can almost do anything and everything that you wish it to do. And I think that's the future looking like. But Bill, help us understand, what do you exactly mean by, defining and raising architectural maturity for enterprise architecture by aligning business and technical strategy, and how should businesses really go about this?
Well, it requires a complete cultural transformation, okay, including HR, including mindset, okay, and thinking, okay. And to get to that point, okay, at the very, very front end, and picturing and painting a picture and vision of the future across the enterprise, okay, and aligning business strategy with technical strategy, which will enable that and deliver it, okay. You've got to incentivize people to change. Okay. If they're not going to get incented to change, nothing's going to happen. So that's the first part of the business strategy. If the business wants to go on more of a, for example, a horizontal strategy, from the edge, from the mobile device, all the way through the network, all the way through the core systems, core applications, and then customer-facing applications. Okay, you've got to break down silos inside the enterprise. Business unit manager and president, even A versus business unit manager and president B, are not incentivized to cross-sell services across their two silos in many cases. Okay, they have their own P&L. They work for the same company. They're focusing on maybe even the same customer industry, but a little bit different segments. Okay, and they may be repeating and using some of the same data, but they're not even calling it the same. Okay, this is an example. Okay, and when the company is coming after them, not even on an annual basis, but on a quarterly basis, and saying, you're down 2.6%. Why? They're not incented to go right across to their neighbor down the hall and knock on his office door and say, well, if we work together, maybe we both won't be down 2.6%, but we'll be up 6.7%. That's how ridiculous it is. Okay. So business strategy aligned with technical strategy will define how to get to 6.7%. Okay. Simply put. Okay. It's going to look at as an example. Okay. And some silos, you can't go horizontal. You have to stay vertical. It's a special product. It's a special service. It's making a ton of money for the corporation. There's no competitor disruption. It owns a big part of the market share. There's no point in disrupting it. Okay. The forecast looks good for a number of years. You're going to leave it alone. Okay. But in terms of emerging strategy, especially from the business side, you've got to look out who's coming around the corner to eat your lunch. Okay. And if you maintain business silos, okay, and you're struggling to maintain that 2.7% or 4% increase, and your competitors are going horizontal and reaching double digits, well, that should be a lesson to you. So the business strategy will paint that vision and the architecture to get there, and work with the businesses and technology to deliver it. But the key point to close on that, nothing's going to happen until HR gets involved and changes how people are going to get compensated.
So. That's true. Yeah, I mean, it's a radical change, and it requires a lot of, organizational and point of view changes as well. But well, talking about something like a banking technology, how, according to you, has banking evolved over the years, and where do you see it going?
One of my favorite questions, Rahul. I mean, in fact, I have a slide that I used to use that shows the evolution of banking.
Right.
Okay. Banking has moved from, well, I wouldn't even call it banking. I would call it, rudimentary financial services has moved from, 1000 AD in terms of time, nascent trading systems. Okay, precious stones for goods and services, bartering, kind of a financial service that's outside a regimented, regulated framework, but people survive and they live with that. Well, to a large degree, at a starting point, we're going back to the future or back to the past with Bitcoin and digital currencies, okay, that are kind of skirting outside the financial system or the banking system. But it's evolved over the years where it's become more and more regulated, and it's become regulated around products. Okay, so banking specific products, different types of credit and lending, deposit accounts, so on and so forth, investment accounts, different types of investments, or different types of insurance. It's then moved into banking as a service. Okay. Where many of these products that you can purchase from a bank have moved into, and I hate this word, it's long overdue and needs to be killed, omni-channel. Okay. And what that means is anything that you can get from a financial institution, you can have served up on any digital access point, whether it's your phone, whether it's the internet, or you can go into a branch or an ATM. Okay. But all that's really done is put it hasn't left the bank. Okay. So the products and the services have not left the house of the bank. It's just being served up and repackaged into a different access point that we're comfortable with. Okay. But not optimized. When we move into the next phase where banking is starting to go, okay, and the big platform giants that are certainly new to financial services, but they're already mastering it, are Amazon, and in the East here in China, Alibaba, Tencent. Okay, they are moving into banking as a lifestyle. Okay, so if you're shopping on e-commerce, you're not flipping through 5 different websites. Okay, everything's integrated to your banking account, and it's invisible. Okay, you could, in many cases, you don't even have to open up your banking account and bank website. You can drill right from the e-commerce transaction right back to the account. Okay, and it doesn't matter where you have to go do this from, because it's offered anywhere. It could be your phone, it could be the internet. Okay, in many cases, it could be a virtual teller in a kiosk. Okay, so it's moving into financial services. Instead of being a place to go transact, it's embedded or ubiquitous in everything that we do. Okay. And that's the key differentiator in the shift. Okay. And what wireless is going to do with convergence of other tech is the next big shift, is taking it off the mobile phone and putting it on any digital access point that you want to consume. Okay. Content could be your refrigerator in the morning. So, you can look to see, I don't have enough milk. Okay, well, do a quick scan on my bank account. Can I afford to buy milk? Okay. And you're not going to pick up your phone and wait a minute, I have to go check my checking account to see if I have enough to buy, a carton of milk for the baby that's crying. This is all going to be seamless. Okay. And so it's no longer going to be tethered to the brick in your pocket of the mobile phone. And you're going to be able to do this wherever you want to do it, okay, where you opt in. And those companies that provide that digital platform based on 6G, okay, and advanced cybersecurity, okay, will allow that to happen. So, it's going to disappear, financial services, in my view. Now, there'll still be specialized services where you have to go to the bank, you'll have to talk to somebody based on transaction amounts or what you're trying to do. But for the most part, everyday consumerism will drive the ubiquitousness of financial services.
Absolutely, and this is what excites me, Bill, because I was somebody who hated bank procedures. Going to the bank, it's super boring, super monotonous. Me as a millennial, especially. So taking it to another level wherein you can use it anywhere you want, and in an interactive way like that, and like you mentioned, like checking my balance if I can afford milk. That's some crazy stuff that I think we can see in the future too. That was great. Thank you so much. But well, closing out on the conversation, are there any other thoughts, any sound bites, or any advice you'd like to give to our audience? Because we have a wide range of entrepreneurs and business owners watching this. So, what would your advice or any thoughts that would leave it for them?
Well, I like the word sound bites. Okay, there's a slide that I used to use in CXO briefings for our customers that would come in with their teams, and it 4 or 5 quotes. Some of them are pretty famous, and a couple of them I made up. The one that I really like, okay, and it gets used a lot, is from Peter Drucker, who is a very famous strategist. And Peter has said, okay, in terms of a quote, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Okay. Now, Bill Genovese, based on my experience as a strategist, has modified that. Okay. Because I've seen this play out time and time again. And no offense to Mr. Drucker at all, but I view what is kind of a cop out and giving up. Okay. My point is, if you have a culture, okay, that's not addressing strategy, or the other way around. If you have a strategy that doesn't address culture in an enterprise or an organization, it's not holistic. Okay. It has to. Okay. And therefore, if your strategy does not address culture, it's only addressing one meal out of the 3, which is breakfast. So
Absolutely.
you need a full strategy to get you through the whole day. Okay. And therefore tackle that big beast of culture and mindset. So
there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Bill Genovese dropping Engati gems on the Engati CX show. Thank you so much, Bill, for giving us your time. Your insights have been extremely valuable. And I know our audience are really going to enjoy this interview.
no problem. Thank you.
Appreciate
Appreciate
that.
it.
Thank you. And we'll be back with a new episode and a brand new expert soon. So stay tuned and see you around for the next one. Thank you.